Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1.
Houston, we have a problem.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue.
What you're seeing here is a mirage.
What's going on, everyone? It's jeranism back with a live video for you. Yes, I'm back. I busted out of the handcuffs and pushed my way through security. Actually, no, I didn't. I just got an email that said my 3 months was over. And so here I am. I'm back at the helm. So thank you to those who are watching. I wanted to do a few quick plugs. First of all, if you're one of the people who uses our link to shop at Amazon, we appreciate that a lot. So thank you so much. We make like 2 or 3% on most items, so we really do appreciate that. And if you'd like to help, you can go to bit.ly/JeranAMZ, JeranAMZ. And we also have a store there of items that are $5 and less. So you can check that out. That's amazon.com/shop/jeranism. So thank you guys for the support. We appreciate it. I wanted to give a big thank you to those and a shout out to all the patrons. You guys really rock. So I appreciate that a ton. And also the patron Discord server is up, and that's the chat that I'll be watching. So if you're a patron, you can head over to the Discord server. And if you want to use the link, it'll be on the screen here momentarily. So first, let me say that because YouTube gave me a... Let me get this over here. Not that one. We'll go with that one. So because YouTube gave me that strike for basically bullying, and the whole time I thought that that was my handling of NASA, but a subscriber actually wrote me and said that people were using fake sock accounts, I guess, and basically creating fake names that were derogatory or racist, and then it was showing up on my screen there on the right. Now I fixed it so that there is no chance of that happening since I'm the one who punches in the names. But so yeah, just wanted to point out that I might have been wrong when I said that I was picked on for bullying, even though I didn't bully. Well, if there was somebody writing racist things on my feed, then I guess I understand that would definitely be a reason to say it's bullying or say it's hate speech. So thank you to those who are so pathetic that that's how they... I mean, I would never create one sock puppet account, let alone somebody making like 50 or 300 and then going to somebody's channel to write some racist nonsense as if, I don't know. It just makes no sense to me. So let me start by saying that, no matter what people are saying on their channels, you'll never see me over there giving them a hard time, because if I don't like a channel, I don't watch it. It's really simple. And think of the simplicity of that. Watch videos you like, don't watch the ones you don't like. I don't know. To me, it just seems too easy. So let's jump in. First, I want to know if you guys heard. I did bring up the wrong one. 1 second. Don't know if you heard this. It is going to be played at a little faster than normal speed, but I'll go ahead and play it just so you can hear what happened earlier today.
But it really does put you in a very unusual state. And when you get out of it, you can go through a lot of stuff that you have, like maybe cluttering around inside your mind, and reorganize after a hypnotic session. It's pretty interesting. There's a reason why people use it for, like, quitting smoking and things along those lines.
Yeah, well, it just shows how malleable the human brain is.
Yeah.
And, it goes back to that whole thing with being brainwashed by YouTube. People make documentaries in a way to hypnotize people. Yeah. They structure it in a way that you get these images coming at you and these ideas and this reinforcement of things in a way that will actually just kind of embed this idea in your brain without you even really realizing it.
Yeah, and they'll say things like, you are being lied to. Yeah. But the thing that kills me, too, is that they use oftentimes a hypnotic voice. Like that Eric Dubé guy who does those Flat Earth videos, he talks in a very hypnotic manner. It's like very calm and...
Yes. Yeah, I think some of the 9/11 videos do as well. They've got this nice woman dictating it. And it's like,
they get you.
The buildings could not possibly have fallen the way they did. Physics proves it.
It looks like we're going to have Eric Dubé, he said he's agreed to do it, talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
What?
Yes. He's going to Skype in from Thailand, or wherever the fuck he is.
Yeah, I think it's in Thailand.
So that is interesting, huh? I don't know about you. I found it extremely interesting. So Eric Dubay is going to talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson on Joe Rogan's show. Interesting. And despite Eric's constant incorrect assumptions about me and his often and his bodyguards or whatever you want to call those two people at the forum with him, the shitty research that they do and all the elements of Flat Earth, I wish him the best. It'll be interesting to hear that conversation. Hopefully it happens, and hopefully it's soon. That would be cool. So that came out today with Joe Rogan was talking with Mick West. They were basically making fools of themselves. They just, these guys don't get it. It's so funny when you hear people describe what they call conspiracy theorists, and they get this idea where they say, well, you're so infatuated with the idea, and it's so much a part of you, and you can't shake it. When that is the exact thing that is causing people to hold on to the globe. And it's just funny. They're just saying it, and they can't even see it. They also talked about Kennedy, and I wanted to show something here because, excuse me, I have a sore throat, so if I'm coughing a little bit. Mick West says, oh no, they tried to say that the word conspiracy theorist was invented by the CIA. Nobody ever said that the word conspiracy theorist was invented by the CIA. Okay, when I say nobody said, maybe somebody somewhere did, but not me, and not from what I've heard anybody who's been doing any research into that. What is being said is that, and I'm going to bring up these documents so you can see. And I don't know if you've ever seen these documents, and I do have, I think, too many pages here. Let me see if I can figure out which one this is. Okay, I can't read that. Let's see this one. Okay, so this is the dispatch number 1035-960. It's a CIA document. Came out as a FOIA request in the mid-70s, I think. And basically this, I'm going to start reading it. And, oh, you don't see what I'm seeing? Alrighty, let's see what's going on with this. Hold on. This one. All right. There you go. Now we'll see you. All right. So I'm reading this document page here. It says to discuss the publicity problem. Sorry, it's hard for me to read. It's really small. Let me see if I can make this bigger for me. Nope. All right. 1 second. Oh, maybe that did it. 1 second. See if that screwed up your document a little bit. Let me try and move this over. Not what I wanted to do. All right, and we're going to grab this one and move it over. All right, now you can kind of see what I'm saying. All right. So it says to discuss the publicity problem with liaisons and friendly elite contacts. So number one, that's just an interesting, opening statement there, to discuss the publicity problem with liaisons and friendly elite contacts, especially politicians and editors. Okay, so what that means is that there is certain liaisons or connections, contacts that are editors to newspapers, magazines, news media. Okay, that's a problem. Pointing out that the Warren Commission did as thorough an investigation as humanly possible to the charges, and the critics are without serious foundation, and that further speculative discussion only plays into the hands of the opposition. Then it says here, underline, point out that the points of the conspiracy talk appear to be deliberately generated by communist propaganda. Now, they're not saying that that's what the case is. They're saying to just point out that that's a great way to look at it, because the American public is scared of communism. So they went that way. So basically, then they tell you in section B here to employ propaganda assets we've got propaganda assets. Now, who might they be? Might they be the editors to the newspapers and TV programs? And, so employ these propaganda assets to answer and refute the attacks of the, God, I cannot read that. Enemies. I don't know if what that one says there. Book reviews and future articles are particularly appropriate for this purpose. So now they're telling you to make book reviews and feature articles that are going to talk about this big problem that conspiracy theorists are coming up with. The conspiracy talk is deliberately generated by communist propaganda. So just interesting that this document goes through and talks about all the reasons or all the ways that they can basically demonize conspiracy theorists. So you'll see here, says, our play should point out, as applicable, that the critics are wedded to theories adopted before evidence was in. They are politically interested, they are financially interested, hasty and inaccurate in their research, or infatuated with their own theories. So they're giving these guys, this is what you say, and if you look around, what do you hear from everybody? That they have a problem with the flat earth. They say the exact same thing. They've been trained to repeat from this document because they'll just tell you, oh, he doesn't have all the facts. Nope, this is, it must be politically in charge. You must be working for the CIA. You're doing this to make money. You're hasty and inaccurate in your research. You're infatuated with your own theory. You just, you want the earth to be flat. You know, like that's the dumbest thing in the world. Why would I want to have been lied to my entire life? In my belief, it's a fact, but that's not something I want. So, you know, I don't understand that whole idea. And these guys are just saying the same thing. And I don't want to play too much of their show, but I might play another second just to hear them talk about when they go through and say all the things that are wrong with conspiracy theorists. After they bring up this document and say this document didn't really say anything and it didn't really invent the word, nobody said it did. It just is a document saying to call these people conspiracy theorists, to demonize them as such. And we'll read a little bit further here. Talks about the Fletcher thing. Let's see here. In private or media discussion not directed to any particular writer or attacking publications which may yet be forthcoming, the following arguments are useful. Basically saying there's no significant no significant evidence has emerged that makes them change the ideas of the Warren Commission. Let me go to page 2 here. Hopefully it's easier to read. Let's see what this one is here. Oh, pleasant. Nope, that's not any easier. How about this one? Okay. Should have looked at these before I got them. Yeah, that's not any easier for me either. So, basically nope, I'm not going to be able to read that. Let's see if we can find those documents, I guess. They are important because basically what it does tell you is that the plan is, and I actually know of a website where it is, so we'll go there real quick. Let me get you over here with this. And let's go. Okay, so we'll find this document 1 second. And so we are looking for, I forgot the number, conspiracy document. Okay. So, let's see here. What's this one? Let me see what that one was here again. Sorry. I did have this ready. 1035-960. Thank you. That's what I wanted. All right. Conspiracy. 1035-960. There's a couple sites that have the text of it, but not many have the actual picture or the image. This one here, I think, has the text. I just want to read the main paragraph that basically... so we'll just read from here. This is from the dispatch itself. Okay, so we've read that part. And to discuss the publicity problem, we read that part. To employ the propaganda assets to and refute the attacks of the critics, we read that part. Okay. Conspiracies on large scales often suggested would be impossible to conceal, which of course we know is not true. That's just another one of those things that they push onto people, like the whole thing of, we couldn't hide the president's blowjob, as if, we found out the truth about that case or something in there. It just makes no sense. So, let's see here. Such vague accusations as that more than 10 people have died mysteriously can always be explained in some natural way. And this is the problem. This is what we get with Mick West. This is what we get with, Joe Rogan, that they've adopted the idea that everything can be explained through another way besides conspiracy. And that's great. Doesn't mean that that's true. Just because you've found another way, I need to shrink this box back 1 second. Just because you found another way to explain it doesn't mean that that's the case. So that's one of the problems with these guys, is that it's the easiest job in the world. And I mean easiest job. If you are simply debunking conspiracies. It's ridiculously easy because all the answers are right there for you. That's the point of it being a conspiracy, is that they're hiding the truth. So the fake truth, the truth that they want you to grab a hold of, they just put all the evidence right out there for you. And people think that they did research and study and found it. Oh, you guys think that the moon landings are fake? Well, I just went to this site, NASA, and saw that it's not. Look at all this paperwork. Well, yeah, we know that that's there. Nobody's going and researching, NASA Apollo missions and not going to NASA's site. So you didn't do anything impressive there. Let's continue on here. Where possible, counter speculation by encouraging reference to the Commission's report. Open-minded foreign readers should still be impressed by the care, thoroughness, objectivity, and speed with which the Commission worked. Going down a little bit further, says, summarizing the tactics which the CIA dispatch recommended. Oops, that's this part. Oh, good. I can actually read this one a little better. That's page 1. And this page 2. And where's page 3? Fantastic. This is the one page I wanted to read. Let's see if I can find that quote. Nope. That was good. Picked the wrong one. We'll find it here. Let's see if this one has it. Because this is the one that they basically are saying that it came from the word conspiracy theorist. It's just the first time that they really used it to, demonize somebody. Let's see here. Where possible. Well, maybe that is the quote that I was looking for. But basically, what we've got here, and I wanted to show one little piece of a JFK speech, and I think I've shown it before. I'm sure you guys have heard me a time or two mention this before. I just think it's awfully interesting that the words that he chooses to use here. So let's just listen to it once, and listen to some of the words, and I'm going to kind of let it go through once, and then I'm going to play it again, and we'll kind of point out some of these words. It's just a quick 2 minutes here, maybe a minute. So let's go ahead and play this.
My topic tonight is a more sober one, of concern to publishers as well as editors. I want to talk about our common responsibilities in the face of a common danger. The events of recent weeks may have helped to illuminate that challenge for some, but the dimensions of its threat have loomed large on the horizon for many years. Whatever our hopes may be for the future, for reducing this threat or living with it, there is no escaping either the gravity or the totality of its challenge to our survival and to our security. A challenge that confronts us in unaccustomed ways in every sphere of human activity. This deadly challenge imposed is not to deliver the...
So,
on the other hand, I realize that your state of concern...
So, we've got the words illuminate, dimension, threat, horizon, gravity, sphere. I just find that interesting. I don't know how you could get all those words together in basically, what was that, 3 sentences? Maybe 3 sentences? Let's listen to it again, and we'll just pause at each one. And, I'm not claiming he's talking about anything here because I don't know what he was talking about. But there's lots of speculation, whether it's the NWO, whether it's, whatever it might be. What I think, could he be saying? I don't know. We'll just listen again.
To publishers as well as editors. I want to talk about our common responsibilities in the face of a common danger. The events of recent weeks may have helped to illuminate that challenge for some, but the dimensions of its threat have loomed large on the horizon for many years. Whatever our hopes may be for the future, for reducing this threat or living with it, there is no escaping either the gravity or the totality of its challenge to our survival and to our security. A challenge that confronts us in unaccustomed ways in every sphere of human activity. This deadly challenge...
And so usually I think that people have heard this speech before, obviously, right? This is the one that goes into the secret societies. And we'll start that just to finish it off here with this.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. It conducts the Cold War, in short, with a wartime discipline no democracy would ever hope or wish to match. Nevertheless, every democracy recognizes the necessary restraints of national security.
So my question would be, what do you think the one problem, if you were to narrow down the problem with this country, narrow it down to one thing, what do you think it is? What would be your guess as to what is the one thing that fell apart and is caused this whole problem? And really, the answer, in my opinion, is the mainstream media. The media who used to be responsible for keeping politicians in line, for keeping everyone in line, became sellouts. They basically were assets. We just read that. There's a guy, John Swinton from the New York Times. He was the chief editor. Quote by him said, "There is no such thing in America as an independent press. If I allowed my honest opinions to appear in one issue of my paper, before 24 hours my occupation would be gone. The business of the journalist is to destroy the truth, to lie outright, to pervert, to vilify, to fawn at the feet of Mammon, and to sell his country and his race for his daily bread. You know it and I know it, and what's folly is the toasting an independent press. We are the tools and the vassals of rich men behind the scenes. Our talents, our possibilities, and our lives are all the property of other men. We are intellectual prostitutes." John Swinton, New York Times chief editor, 1880. So, and that's that long ago. So you're talking, 140 years ago. And from that time, the media has been at the behest of the American government, which means every single thing that you believe, every single thing that you've been told and taught is for a reason. And if you think that reason is for your livelihood, is for you and your family to get along great and grand and to make sure that they're comfortable and to make sure that your health care is paid for and to make sure that your car runs and to make sure that you don't need a new phone every 2 years, if you think that's what's going on, well, you're sorely mistaken. What's going on here is we are being lied to, as Jordan Maxwell would say, and I mean big time. And for an example, and again, can people just come at you and say, well, you just don't trust these astrophysicists, Jaron? You just don't trust them. No, I don't trust them when I go outside and the stars are right there. Okay, the stars are right there. They are not 25 trillion miles away. No human can see for 25 trillion miles. In fact, you can't see further than a couple hundred miles, and then you just see blackness. You cannot see points of light 25 trillion miles away. That's the minimum, the shortest distance to any star. Go outside right now, look up at the stars, and if you believe that they are 25 trillion miles away, then you believe in what men tell you, and you should expect that that's not for your good, but for theirs. Okay, so they're not telling you these things because they want you to get better and to get smarter. No, it's whatever is going to keep Neil deGrasse in his comfy little job. It's what's going to keep Lawrence Krauss as an intellectual and not be looked at as a fool who believed nonsense for 20 years and taught it. So this is the difference between what we see and what they tell us we see. And again, they go through these nonsense ideas like our senses fail us, oh, your senses can be tricked. Your senses don't always work. No, they do always work unless you purposely are trying to fool my senses. In that case, you're right. Sure, yeah, my senses can be fooled if you do an optical illusion on, on some screen and make me look at the green dot and I don't see the purple dot or whatever. And that is a case of basically just setting yourselves up for disaster. Like I said before, you could walk into your bedroom at night, and if a bowling ball dropped on your head, is that your senses failing you? Well, no, because your senses would not sense that somebody would put a bowling ball on top of your door as you walked in. So that's setting your senses up for a failure. Where our senses do work is they keep you alive. Everything that you do all day is your senses. When you cross the street, when you drive a car, when you do anything dangerous, you're cutting fruits and vegetables with a knife, anything like that, you're constantly needing to see, look, feel, everything. Your senses work perfect. They do exactly what they're supposed to do. And in one case, whenever they say your senses don't work, it's always when they've got a lie to tell. When they've got to say that stars are a certain distance away, well, then your senses don't work. Sorry, those stars look close, but they're really far. Sorry, you don't feel like you're spinning, but you really are. Sorry, you don't feel like you're flying through space, but you really are. And these things that cannot be proven are just conjecture. They're just stories that are being told to you. And there's a whole bunch of people that love that story. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that everybody hates it. There's people that love the idea of space. They love it, and they want that future. They want this whole idea of the space future. I don't know if you saw the new movie. What is it called? Player One or something by Spielberg. I just saw the trailer the other day. And, I mean, even the movie title on the top of the poster says a better future awaits. And that basically the movie is that you're going to be able to strap on these virtual reality glasses and do whatever you want. Sleep with whatever girl you want. Go wherever you want. Do whatever you want. Be a tough guy. Be one of these keyboard warriors. Be a flat earth reset. Sit home and Monday morning quarterback all day. Yeah, if that's what you want to do with your life, then fantastic. But they're forcing this on people that it's some sort of good idea, that that's the good future. Well, yeah, of course it's a good future for who? Who do you think it's a good future for? Well, you have to become a slave and the elite remain where they're at, get richer, while you work your day-to-day job, because you're going to have to afford one of these headsets. So you got to work to get it. You got to work to eat. And that's where they've kept us all trapped for hundreds of years, is that you make sure that we're always on the climb. You don't want to be, the middle class is afraid of the lower class, and the middle class sees the high class and the upper class and wants to be like them, but they'll never reach that unless they become like the upper class, which means you step on everybody. Anybody who's the head of a company, and I don't mean a head of a company with 50 employees, I mean anybody who's a head of a corporation, some sort of huge company, those people are at the top because they will step on whoever it takes to get to the top. So that's my opinion of Donald Trump. Trump is not a good guy. He will step on anybody to get where he is. That's how you get there. You don't be Mr. Nice Guy and end up a trillionaire or a billionaire. It just doesn't happen. It's not possible. It's not in the cards. So wanted to show a couple other things, and one of them is, let me switch over to this, and let me check the chat over here because I forgot to do that. We got Cherokee Morgan. Hello, how are you? So let me get over here 1 second. And let's go this one over. Okay, so I did want to show you some funny stuff here. The first one, oh, I love this one all the time anyway, because it's just, there's really nothing funnier than this. Let me get this squared away for you. There we go.
Every G is on.
Just getting ready for this takeoff because it's hilarious.
Fourth stage, engine arm basket. 99 Pro.
There we go.
Good liftoff. Automatic.
Sorry, I just find that too funny. Too funny. That was Apollo 15 liftoff. And I wanted to show this Apollo 16 trans-Earth EVA because it's by far the most bubbles in space of all time. Let me see. Hopefully you can see the top of that. And I don't know if you see my mouse. Hopefully you do. If not, well, kind of I'll try and describe what I'm talking about here. But what we're going to be watching is, and in my opinion, and again, this is just me, I think scuba divers are out in this area here. And you'll start to see bubbles flying up this direction. A ton of them.
Looks pretty good down here, Ken.
And it's when he gets out here in a little bit.
All right, I'm going back to the sick bay.
All right, so we'll watch starting. And who knows what that's reflecting off of.
It really is right.
But yeah, I definitely think that's what's going on. Now, again, it could be black people in black suits and they're hanging on wires. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just assume that they're scuba divers, but they could be faking it many ways. What they're not is in space. That's what they're not. And I'll show you examples of that here. So you're going to see in a second all these bubbles start flying. And if you look here, underneath his arm here, I mean, it already looks like somebody's holding on to him. Let's get a little bit further here. I don't know why we're getting this reflection here. This guy's helmet's reflecting here. And then pretty soon we're going to see all these bubbles. I mean, look at this. That's not somebody holding this. Look at that. What's that right there? Somebody's hand. See it?
It looks like it might be.
And what they have is they have live editing abilities, and I think even back then that they would have been able to do editing. So this looks like somebody right here. But again, I could be crazy. It wouldn't surprise me. And let's see here where the bubbles start. What is this one? 15. There it goes. See that one?
Roger, copy. I am.
And I think it's pretty soon here when he... Move it a little further along, see?
Oh, a little, but not much, I bet.
I think it's when he goes back out for the second time where we see all the... Unless it was Apollo 15, but this one's equally as bad. They look identical. Identical camera shot. Let me turn this down a little bit. I think I opened the wrong one as far as the multiple bubbles. That's supposed to be the moon, by the way. That little white dot that we just saw. Watch. And... Are they supposed to look outside or something? All right, so this is... let me see if it's this one. Oh, no, that's Apollo 15. Apollo 16. Let me see what this one was real quick. Oh, this one's just too funny to all. They're all so funny. I mean, can you believe this is real? Let's watch this. This is the funny thing to me is that these are supposed to be real. This is not... This right here is supposed to be real. This is the Earth supposedly coming up over the limb of the moon, and this is the lunar module, or the command module, flying around in orbit of the moon. It's so funny. The fact that this is still believed. I mean, look at this. This thing is flying? How? What? I mean, come on. You cannot possibly believe this. There's just no way. And yet, people will believe it. Why? Because they're too afraid. That looked like Neil deGrasse, did it not? I don't know. Let me see here. What else we got in this one? I mean, it's just so much nonsense. It's sad. Maybe it's this one here. Let's see here. We're getting this one. I mean, it just looks to me like this is being grabbed over here. And if I grab the wrong one, I might have. It's either... Oh, there's one bubble. We saw that one. Basically looks like somebody's handing him something here from off the scene. And there you go. And do we ever get to see them? Nope, they just drop out of a plane and then into the water. And you better believe it, or else you are not very smart. And we watched the takeoff there, and we watched that one. Let me make sure if I have it in my other file. 1 second. It should be right here. I just grabbed the wrong one. Let's see here. And this one. And runway 3. And let's see here. So is it this one? Russian spacewalk, Apollo 16, Trans-Earth EVA. Which one did we watch? Yeah, 16. 16 millimeter film. Maybe it's this one. 72 Apollo 15 liftoff. Yeah, it's this one. Let me see if we can get this one up. This is Apollo 17. Yeah, so let's watch this one. This looks like it. Yeah. Okay, so this one's much clearer. I don't know. Hopefully you get as good as a picture as I have. I guess I could probably make it grow a little bit here. Let's try and make it a little bigger. Okay. So let's watch. There, you just saw a bubble there. So if anybody's looking for places to send people for space bubbles, this is an excellent resource here. This is the one where I was talking about. Remember I said if you look underneath him, it looks like he's being carried. You're going to see some crazy stuff, and I'll try and pause it when I can, when there's something to see. But just now, see, there's another one. Now watch these bubbles just start flying out, and you grab this, and you see that? So imagine you're in space, okay, and this looks like somebody's over here. Oops, did I go too far? Yeah, so he grabs this little thing here, right? Now what does he do with it? Holds it up. Watch it. He just let it go. He didn't throw that. So what is making it rise? Besides if you're in water? I don't know. You tell me. Now look at all these bubbles that just start flying. Keep watching that area. And you'll start to see them fly like crazy. There's another one. Another one. Does this thing have sound? No sound, no. No sound, good. All right, and let's keep watching. There's another thing here. Oh, yeah, that thing there. Okay, so watch this. So he throws this. What direction does he throw this? Did it look like he threw it along the side of this thing? Now, here it is over, it looks like, but then it curves and goes this way. I mean, is that really what you think? Is that how space is supposed to work? Let's watch again. And what are you just throwing? Well, what are you grabbing? Now he threw it, and then it curved that way. Give me a break. Something's on a string. It's not in space. It's ridiculous to think so. First of all, and I've said this a million times, what the hell would you have the astronauts go outside the craft for? You know what they're doing? They're retrieving a film canister. Because whoever the genius, engineers who built this thing couldn't put the film canister in an accessible place from the inside. Nope. Let's put it that they have to go outside, risking their lives. Look at the bubbles. Here they go. Here they go. Flying. Whoop, bubble. Bubble, bubble, bubble. Bubble. There they all go. Bubble, bubble. And he comes back, and he's going to go back out, and it gets even worse. And, in fact, there's a little funky thing that happens here towards the... I don't know if it's coming up here. We're going to get to see something fly and do something that's just impossible if this is supposed to be space. Okay, let's see. It should be right about here. Again, you could be watching the bubbles on the left. There's one. And in a second, we're going to see something fly in over here on the right. So I'm going to be keeping my eye over here. There's another bubble. Just flew up. And I've heard people say, well, all the bubbles don't go the same. They don't go straight up. Well, yeah. Well, they're going to go up. We don't know which way up is. Look at all these bubbles. Flying, flying. I mean, I don't know if they're being hit by micrometeoroids or what, but... oh, is that it? Or did I miss the little thing flying? It was there? I'm watching right here. I don't know if you can see my thing. I guess I should have checked that. But there's a little piece of something that flies up. I don't remember where it was. I thought it was right there. And now I don't see it. Well, there's basically like a little piece of white. I don't know what it is. But it basically goes up like a piece of plastic would in water, not something in space. I don't remember if it was right here or not. Interesting. I'm seeing this move. I'm sure everybody else is too. So very interesting. Another story I wanted to tell, or something I wanted to point out that I thought was interesting, just something I found in my research yesterday, thanks to somebody who sent me an email. Has anyone ever heard of this guy, Johann Christian von Sachs? Don't know if you've heard of this guy. You probably haven't. He basically is he calls himself an amateur archaeologist who basically is famous for finding these huge stone anchors in Florida. And these anchors, at first I was like, I don't believe this story, and it doesn't sound legit to me. But let me show you real quick what these anchors look like. Let's see, let's go here. Because I agree with his speculation that it is impossible. So I'm just going to put in stone anchors, Florida, or Tarpon Springs is the name of it. Okay, we'll go images. So there's a couple of these ones here. This is one of them. So these gigantic rocks with these holes perfectly cut out that have rope marks on them, these were anchors to boats. And the thing is, the size of these are ridiculous. They're too big for humans. So, it kind of leads to that whole idea of giants. But what he actually thinks is that the Florida coast was the west coast of Atlantis. And I just want you to hear him for a second talk. And let's see here. And one of the interesting things... Oops, you can't really see that. Sorry. I need to fix my overlay here. Or my... Shoot, sorry. There we go. I forgot I keep changing that because of the YouTube video. But let me squeeze this down a little bit so you can get a better view. So these are the stone circles here. You can look them up, or the stone anchors. And this guy is the guy that I'm talking about. He now works in a bike store in Florida. But let's listen to him talk here for a second. Very knowledgeable about what he's researching, and I'm going to start when they go outside here.
Ship would have about 10 or 15 of these giant stones around it.
Now, you wouldn't have one of those stones around.
Yeah, you could go over here. Let's go out the front of the store. It's really amazing. There's so many. There's like, since we found so many stone anchors, that would mean that there's almost like 400 or 500 ships up and down the coast when a big wave came over the whole state of Florida. So that would have sunk Florida, making it look like Atlantis was sinking rather than a big wave was just coming over the state. Over here at the Wachovia building, on the far side of the building, there happens to be an array of about 4 or 5 of those stone anchors. You can go up and look in the stones, and you can see the rope marks leading away from the holes to the sides of the stones, which indicate that they were tied through the holes with ropes from ancient times.
Wow,
so it kind of proves the whole theory that Atlantis was over here and that there were titans of Atlantis ruling the area, and then Tarpon Springs would be the area where all these goods were brought, to the ships and loaded aboard the ships and sailed off to all parts of the world. Oh. That's basically why we have indigenous plants, animals, and beings all over the world, is it was seeded from a central place where they were doing some kind of genetic operation to terraform the earth. And these will be the Greek gods, and we've analyzed the Greek gods as being probably aliens from another planet.
Very interesting.
Isn't it?
Very, very interesting.
So, and I'm Johann Christian von Sachs.
Yeah, so this guy's got a YouTube channel. Very interesting. Oops, I didn't even show you that. My bad. Well, this was him talking. But I'll leave the link in the description. He's got a channel with just 2 videos on it. But I was interested today that I was reading through some of his comments in one of them, and he's a flat earther, which I did not know going into it. I was just looking at his research, and then I started looking at those stone circles. Then he also talks about this underground river in Florida, and I did some research on that, and it is in existence. They shut it down. Now they've got this almost like a dam set up, so when the river comes down, and I can't think of the name of the river right now, but when the river comes down, actually, if we listen to him for a little bit longer, I think he describes it. We'll go ahead and let him tell you rather than me.
Place.
Oh, is that where the high school kids
The
go
kids
die
died
for
for
it?
the cross, yeah, and I started to think about it. They lost the cross in 1927, and they were 8, and the stock market crashed right after they lost their cross.
Oh.
And so they thought it was a bad omen to lose the cross, and then they lost a couple people who were diving from her over the years in 1975, I think. And then finally, I came down here in 92, and I was looking at the situation as an amateur archaeologist. I kept saying there's something weird about this place, and sure enough, if you look at a map from the air, you can see that the whole river system's been dug out, and you've got a picture of Poseidon's upper torso, and his hand is where Spring Bayou is. And then underneath him, he's got Atlas, and across from Atlas, there's Hesperus, his wife, and down behind Atlas, there's this dragon-shaped river, and the word Euphrates is an Atlantean word for dragon-shaped river. So Euphrates means dragon-shaped river. It's just that it's over here. It's not over in Iraq or Iran.
And where is this dragon-shaped river?
It's the Anclote River. It was the Arcadian river of Greek mythology. And according to Greek mythology, they had this place, river carved out in Eden, just like in Judeo-Christian mythology. But in Greek mythology, they had an underground river, River Alpheus, that Poseidon had dug. So if you go up here to Lake Tarpon, there's a gate and a coffer dam that stops the water from flowing into an underground river that goes under the streets and under the city, and it comes out right here at Spring Bayou. So that's the River Alpheus in Greek mythology. And then the Arcadian River is the surface river. And then when Ponce de Leon got here looking for the Fountain of Youth, he renamed the river the Anclote River. Safe anchorage, Anclote. So,
You're quite the historian.
yeah, I studied this.
Yeah, he goes through a lot more. Definitely interesting. You know, I just wanted to point it out because I think this video here had like 300 views, and the ones on his channel had even less. Excuse me. So I wanted to point that out. Maybe somebody wants to look into that. I might do a little bit more on it. Just was very interested. The name of that river was the Lake Tarpon River, and that's the one that's stopped up by a dam rather than going underground like it's supposed to, or not like it used to. They've stopped it from doing that and then made it redirect up above land. Anytime they're changing things like that, just makes me wonder. So very interesting guy. And basically they've found like 250 of these stone anchors along the shore of, basically Lake Tarpon and that area, Spring Bayou, that area of Florida. So definitely interesting. He basically says that the Garden of Eden is there, and he's got all this. I haven't looked into it past that. He's a little bit eccentric, a little crazy, but aren't we all? So that I wanted to point out. Let me see what else I wanted to show you tonight. Trying to check if nobody's in the Discord chat that I see. If I'm mistaking that, I don't know. Am I in the right room? Yep. And so let me check. Oops. Let me check on this one for you. So I've had that. I've got a whole bunch of stuff lined up. I also want to, answer questions this week because I know there's a lot. One thing I did want to show you that I think is pretty cool, and of course I never came up with this idea on my own. This just happened to take place. I wish it would have been my idea. I would feel impressed, but it's not. It just happened to work out this way. So let me make sure you can see the entire browser before I continue on. And let's see here. All right. There we go. Good enough. Close enough. All right. So we're going to head over to my site. And I still have a little bit more cleaning up to do on it. But hopefully very soon it will be all done. But it's definitely coming along. The interesting thing... Whoops. That's not what I wanted. Oh. The interesting thing about this site is I don't know if you guys know, a lot of people know that I've been answering questions that are asked of me on ask.fm for about a year and a half or 2 years now. And it got to the point where I had 1,400 questions answered. And so I started thinking, man, the crazy thing about ask.fm, and I'll go there real quick so you can see. If you go to ask.fm, and I used it because I wanted a place where people could go if they had questions or I could answer for them and kind of create like a little, but here's the problem is you can ask me a question here and you can search through all my answers. You can go down forever here. But the problem with it is you can't search. So I can't just tell people, oh, go here and search till you find the answer. So what I was able to do is move everything over to here. And if you go to questions and all questions, it's pretty cool because I was able to move all that data by CSV over. And now it's a searchable database. And I'm going to be adding to it and cleaning up some of the answers. And I do put a warning on there that because I told people on ask.fm that I would answer any question, there's a lot of questions that would probably be considered inappropriate. And my answers are probably equally as such. So you'll see here that it looks like all these questions. But remember, there's 1,440 of these. You'll see all these pages. You can go to any page, and these are just all questions and answer. So, are you dedicated to finding untapped land a la bird and getting to them? Just click it. There's my answer. The great thing is you can actually search, and it will reevaluate or it will reorganize based on your search. So if I type in curvature, what you're going to get is you're going to get all the answers of questions that have to do with curvature. So if Kansas is over, what is the curvature formula? Ships and buildings below the horizon. Explain the fall of Polaris. Navigator, So it's kind of cool, and that says 43, so I didn't even see it. There's a whole bunch more, obviously. Here's this person, flat Earth, now what? When are you going to get a grip on reality? Let me see my answer here. I'm sure it's pretty good. Oh, let's read this. This is just, hopefully it's nothing too bad. Reality as per who exactly? Reality that is shown to my eyes or the one of my other senses, or reality that we are told we must believe to be considered smart? Reality that I was taught during public indoctrination, grades K through 12? Reality that says math proves reality. Reality is in the stars in the sky or suns because science says so. Reality that says we live on a ball with curvature that cannot be measured because wherever you are, you're on the level surface because you are being pulled to the center equally everywhere. Reality that says there is no up or down in space, but there is a North Pole star and a South Pole star, and that the astronauts are weightless because they're falling. Reality that tells us how science works. Soon as something is proven wrong or false, we throw it out. Or reality that has been shown that when gravity was shown to no longer explain the universe, they instead invented the unseen dark matter and dark energy. Because they must be there. If they aren't there, then oh no, that means we aren't on a big spinning ball. Can't be. We must be spinning 1,000 miles per hour around a 93 million mile distant sun in our yearly 584 million mile orbit as we speed around with the sun 480,000 miles per hour around the Milky Way, with the Milky Way traveling 2.2 million miles per hour around the center of the universe. Your answer depends on what you consider reality. Planets and galaxies in light years you'll never see. Space travel that has never happened or never will. If that is your reality, your answer is never. As far as real reality, I'm living it every day. Really, it's all relative. Ask Einstein. So it's kind of a cool place because I never thought, again, if I would have thought to myself, I would be very impressed if I would say, you know what I'll do? I'll answer questions on ask.fm for a year and a half. And by doing that, I'll build an FAQ of 1,400. I'm not that smart. It just happened to get to the point where I'm like, wait, they can't search it. Well, let me try and bring the info where they can. And that's how I got this. So, if you put in anything here, and just be careful, I did put a warning up there that there is some adult content, there's some adult language, there's arguments, there's you name it, but it's been a good resource, and I still am going to use it. So if you do have a question for me, you see today I got asked, is the rumor true? Are you back on live tonight? What time can you cover this Mad Mike nonsense? And then I answer these questions. So I've never not answered a question. So if anybody's out there that thinks that I didn't answer their question, well, then something happened because I have answered every single question that has ever come across ask.fm under my name. So there's a ton of them here. What are we at now? Oh, sorry, I said 1,400, 1,275. 1,275 posts, which is 1,275 questions and 1,275 answers. So I still encourage people to go here The other place you can go is if you go to my website up here where it says leave a message for Jaron, click that. It will bring up SpeakPipe. You just hit start recording, and we can even do that now. If you start recording, oh, no, I don't want to do that. Sorry. You hit start recording, and when I'm not recording on OBS, then you can just leave me a message up to 90 seconds. And so far, I do have some I haven't got back to. I'm a little bit behind on these, but so far I've answered all but the last 15 or so. And it's just easier than email for me because I can sit down and I can listen to somebody talk for 90 seconds and then I hit record and respond in 90 seconds. So it saves me a ton of time rather than to have to read paragraphs in emails and then try and respond, which just inevitably takes 5 or 10 minutes per email, and it's just impossible to even keep up. So Artem's thoughts, thank you so much. I see you're listening and enjoying the show. It does seem like forever. I agree. Really happy to be back, and no hate speech. There's no way anybody can screw it up for me. So there we go. So I wanted to just point this out, and there's some other things coming along with the site. There'll be a link list and just a whole bunch of other things coming slowly. Got a good quote section here that I've been adding to. Same kind of search box. Oops. Here it comes. Same kind of search box here, and there's just different quotes by different people. If you need quotes for anything flat Earth related, Sir Isaac Newton talking that gravity should be an innate, inherent, and essential to matter, so that one body can act upon another at a distance through a vacuum without the mediation of anything else, by and through which their action and force may be conveyed from one to another, is to me so great an absurdity that I believe no man who has philosophical matters, a competent faculty of thinking, can ever fall into it. Guess what? That's the belief now. The belief is that gravity is innate in matter, that it comes with matter, and that it acts on bodies by its own. It's been given the moniker of God, because gravity can do anything. It'll do everything, anything you can imagine, it can do. So I also wanted to, and let's see, we're getting close here. I wanted to go to, let me see what we've got down here. Interesting story I just found yesterday, because this is something I've been looking at for a while now. I've had somebody tell me that they've seen Greenland from Iceland, which is crazy. If we just want to look at a map of the North, let's see here, I'll bring up a map, North America map, or let's try that. I guess we could put Western Hemisphere, probably better, but I'm sure we'll find something close enough. Okay, so let's find a spot here that will show both. This one? Yeah. So this distance right here is about 300 miles. Might be 250. Not really sure. We can search that real quick. Let me just see Iceland to Greenland. What is that distance? So somebody told me they saw that distance. I thought that was pretty crazy. Miles. Hello. And, oh, well, I wanted to go to the shore. Genius. Yeah, I guess because it's going to be giving me flight miles. But, if that's 752, so I was about right, about 300. And you can get way out to this tip is where I hear that you do it from. So I was looking if anybody had seen it, and sure enough, here's this girl in 2010 who said, we were traveling in the Westfords last month on August 25th on our way to whatever that word is. We took pictures of a beautiful sunset on the beach and later camped near whatever that word is. During the sunset and afterwards, we noticed a pink glow on the horizon in the northeast. At first, it appeared to be clouds by the horizon lit by the sun, except that the mysterious glow never changed shape. Giant icebergs far off in the distance, surely there wouldn't be that many or that large of an iceberg floating around. Our only other guess was that due to some trick of the atmosphere, we were seeing sunset on the mountains of Greenland. The strangest part of the story is that the glowing objects lasted long after the sun had set. The pink mountains, or whatever they are, were even more distinct an hour or more after our own sky was dark. Eventually, the glow faded, but we haven't yet found a good explanation for what we saw. Of course, people will be quick to the rescue to say, you're crazy, here we go. This link is in Icelandic, but it explains how it's not possible to see Greenland from Iceland. It's a common misunderstanding, and most likely it's clouds far off in the distance you're looking at. Thank you, sir, for that great info. Thanks for the link. I'll take your word for it. Google doesn't translate Iceland very well. This person says, most likely what you saw is a superior mirage. So now people want this lady to believe that mountains are lifted up. She just said that they didn't move. She just said they stayed there for hours. They didn't move. What kind of mirage stays there and doesn't move? Superior mirage. Get a life. And this person here, okay, so that sounds like what we saw. Thanks. Just a number of magical things found in Iceland. This person says, it's almost certainly what is known as a fata morgana. I mean, this is ridiculous that people go to this length and then they shut down the thread. But it's just crazy to me, and I do think that people can see that. And, we've seen, if we go to the Canigao Peak or whatever. So what she's talking about when she sees that pink Canigao from Alush, what she's talking about is that glow that you get after the sunset. Much like, I don't want to do a video, I'll do pictures. So you get this kind of glow like this. Now, they're basically telling her these are clouds. This is clouds that are just sitting here, and it's a superior mirage. Oh, it's lensing. Oh, it's fata morgana. Nothing in the world can lift mountains up. It's ridiculous. The idea behind it is preposterous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And rather than just admit what we're seeing is the mountains, people have to go to every other stretch because they just don't want to admit that, here, look at this picture. This is not a cloud. This is a mountain. This right here is 160 miles away. So if you have big enough mountains, which we do in Iceland, then you will get this kind of effect. You can get this kind of thing. So it's just something I wanted to point out because I think there's a lot of people out there that maybe live in an area where they just never thought about it. But you can just go, if you go to the map, and this is not a good map, but we'll go to, do I still have that one up? Let's go back here. So if you just go to a map and look at different areas, like here down in Mexico, there's stretches across here that shouldn't be seen. And if we go to the curve calculator, with an eye height of, let's say they're at 1,000 feet in Iceland, which they're not because they're right on the shore. And let's say that the mountain that they're seeing is 1,000 feet. Okay, so we got 2,000 feet now. But the miles is 300. I mean, you are looking at 40,000 feet behind the curvature. That's 8 miles. 8 miles. Oh, it's atmospheric lensing. Oh, it's fata morgana that lift things up 8 miles into the sky. Happens all the time. It's just clouds that you're looking at there. The clouds that just sit at the horizon all the time. Just sit there. Yep, that's what it is. Fata morgana, superior mirage, lifting things 8 miles into the sky. It is crazy. Absolutely crazy. So I do want to point that out. I think that more things will be coming from that. I actually have a friend who goes to Iceland every year. So he's going to be tasked with a job this year. And that's going to be to try and take pictures of the sunset, which is perfect because it happens right at, obviously the west, northwest from Iceland is Greenland. And so when the sun sets there, especially when it's a low sunset, so during the summer, we should see something very interesting. So that would be kind of a capper, I think, in my opinion. I don't know about you guys. And let's see here. I'm going to check the chat, and then I'm going to be done for this evening. So if you have a question for me, put jeranism, so at least it highlights my name. And I will head over there and check out the chat if I can bring it up. Where is it? Okay, 1 second. So hope everybody is well. I'm happy to be back doing the live show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I want to do it a lot more often. A lot of people say it's too long for them to listen to, so I'm going to try and keep them short. And then also, even if I can, at the end of it, maybe just cut out a few pieces and make it a 10 or 15 minute kind of summary. So if you do start seeing two, that's probably what's going on. So give me a second here. Let me grab the chat. Let's see here. If this starts playing, I'm sorry. I gotta turn this down. Okay. And where's the chat? All right. So what's going on? Joey Style or Silv. You know who Joey Styles is? I don't know if you know who that is. Sharon, please watch A Case for Christ. I will do that. Again, as you know, my opinion on that, but it is impossible to prove history. It's impossible. I mean, we have no way to prove anything from history. It could easily have been written in a book, and the people who say, well, yeah, it could be written in a book, but there's people that died for Jesus. Well, yes, they wrote about people that died for Jesus. But what I'm saying is we don't know that people died for Jesus. That could be written in a book. Doesn't mean it had to happen. Now, do I think Jesus lived? Yeah, I do. But, you know, to each their own, and we can't prove it, so it's not something worth arguing over. You cannot prove anything about that. It's all word of mouth, and those papers were written, 50 to 100 years after Jesus was dead. Let's see here, what else? Jaron, on Eric Dubay, please, and his channel being canceled. His channel's gone? No. Oh, I'm going to check this. I don't believe it. Let me see here. Eric Dubay. Let's see. YouTube. I don't think so. Oh. Wow. This account has been terminated due to multiple or severe violations of YouTube's policy prohibiting hate speech. That is ridiculous. Well, yeah, you're right. I did not know that. Certainly not something good. Oh, did everybody want to see what I'm doing? I guess I should put it over there. Sorry. This the one thing I got to get used to is switching the screens. It's not just what I'm looking at. Let me get back over here. And where am I at? Now I'm lost. There we go. So you can just see what I'm looking at. I'm just looking at Eric Dubay's page. Oops. Did I grab the wrong? Oh, I grabbed this one. Now I'm looking at an infinity screen. Which one did I mean to grab? This one. Eric Dubay. There we go. Sorry. Grab the right one. And this one. So this is what we are looking at here. I was looking at. So it says the account has been terminated. So yeah, I did not know that. That is definitely news to me, and it's too bad. I don't think I've ever heard really well. I guess besides some of his videos about certain subjects, maybe that's what got him busted. I don't know. Maybe he can get it back. I know Crow got his back. Richie from Boston, if I'm not mistaken, got his back, or did he just come back with a new channel? Not positive on that one. Let me. Oops. Okay, I'm not doing it very well here now. I've got this open in two boxes. All right, let me get back to the chat. Hey, thanks so much. I just saw. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. That is the Conspiracy Music Guru. Awesome channel. Check it out. He's got 5 songs right now. All of them very catchy, very hip, very fun. Great guy. So check those out. And thank you for the donation. Appreciate that. Let's see what else here. Jaron, sending your love. Thank you. Appreciate that. Welcome back. Thank you. Appreciate that. Very much. I'm happy to be back. What does this say? You sub to the Young Turks. Oh, I always said sub to a ton of people. It doesn't really make any difference. I have my alerts, which are, I think there's 6 right now, or 5. So I don't even get very many alerts. Otherwise, they would just get flooded. Let's see here. Eric just posted a video. He's not the author. Free speech violation at its finest. What happened? Sorry. I didn't understand what you meant. Okay. Any other questions, or I guess not? Hey, Carly. What's going on? Got to hang out with Carly in North Carolina. That was fun. Got to eat some gummies. It's good times. Let's see here. Thank you so much, John Lloyd. Appreciate that. So I mean, the only other thing that I know, so somebody said talk about the Mad Mike debacle or whatever that guy said. The Mad Mike situation was weird. I went through the ebb and flow of thinking, hey, this is a cool opportunity, and then having him on Monday Night Raw. Then I donated $5 to the cause. Then it looked like it wasn't going to go down. It looked like there was some hang-ups about the money. It looked like there was just some issues. And then I chalked it up to, okay, well, I lost $5 and I learned my lesson. And then what happened over the last 3 weeks or so, I think it was the best $5 I ever spent. Now, I know a lot of people disagree with that. A lot of people think, well, this is just a way for the media to think Flat Earth is dumb. Well, no matter what, the media is going to think Flat Earth is dumb, especially if there's something that comes out that is so big that, I mean, if you just look up all the newspapers he was in, New York Times, everything, he was all over the place. And my goal is just to get the words Flat Earth into somebody's ear, because I never thought that there's a possibility that it could be flat. I laughed at my wife when she said so. So it really, all I'm looking for is people to, at least once in their life, hear it and then, go to YouTube, look it up, and if they find no merit in it, then that's fine. But I don't think it's fair that people never got the opportunity to question the things that we were taught. And again, if you found proof, and again, my idea of proof is a lot different than other people, but there is no proof of space travel. There is no proof of Mars. There is no proof of Saturn. There's proof that there's lights in the sky, and there's proof that they, appear spherical, I guess. But then again, like I told people, I had a telescope, and I took the eyepiece off and just looked through the eyepiece, and everything that I looked at was curved away from me, like my car. I looked through the eyepiece, my car is curved away from me. Now, I brought that up, and somebody said, oh, that's because the telescope, by the time the light gets to your eye, it's bent the wrong way, so then the eyepiece bends it back. Okay, well, I'm not going to be basing my life upon the bending of eyeglasses. It's just, it's not cool for me. And I think we bought a telescope. I went to the beach, and one of the things I did, and I'll bring this up so other people can try it if they want, but basically what we did is we took the telescope and leveled it. It was about 5 feet high. Put a level on top of it, looked perfectly level. I looked through the telescope, and the horizon was, I can't really describe it to you, but maybe a half inch below the level line of the telescope. So I said, okay, well then what we did is took a toilet paper roll, paper towel roll, and we put that on top of the tripod. Had to take some duct tape, but then we put the level on that. When it was leveled, I looked through the roll of paper towels, and its middle was exactly lined up with the horizon. So what that tells me is there is a collimation error in telescopes that causes items to drop. And that's what they're basically using to measure the Earth. That's what a theodolite is. It's a telescope. And it's got so many moving parts and prisms and mirrors that it would be incredibly easy to adjust one of those by such a way that would cause this so-called drop. Again, it doesn't even make any sense when you really think about the idea of drop. Think about what they say. They tell us boats go over the curve, right? Well, on the other side of that curve, if somebody's over there, do they see the boat coming down the curve? No, they don't. They see it coming up. So what's going, how is it going down for somebody else, but going up? The whole thing is just such a joke. It's just not true. I mean, it's just not true. And I don't know how long we're going to have to fight it, because people just want to believe in what they were taught. They don't want to even think with their heads and really look at the situation. I mean, if we had somebody in New York measuring to the west and somebody in San Francisco measuring to the east, both those people would measure drop. Yet they would get to Colorado and they're higher than when they started. Well, how did you measure drop? And the other way that they do this is, people like Jesse Kozowski, who I used to think was kind of cool. I would talk to him until he told lies about me on Facebook. But the thing about him is that these guys think that it's the end all be all, that they're geodetic surveyors and they, God's gift to humankind. What he hasn't done any. What has he measured? He's measured a little section of one state. That's not the whole Earth. So they think because they measure a little bit of drop here and there, but the entire amount of drop that is needed across the entire Earth, they're not measuring that. They're not measuring that. I mean, yeah, they measure a city and say, oh, that this city is dropping 3 feet. Yeah, great. So where are you going to measure the drop that it's going to take to come back to where you started? I told Jesse Kozlowski that if we can do a chain, chain measurements, 100 miles of beach coastline, that, I would bet everything I have that you're not going to measure the amount of drop. How much drop would that be in 100 miles? Let's see, was it 66? No, I don't know where I'm getting that. Hold on. Where is my curvature calculator? Just spread this out. That's why. There it is. See, 100 miles. So we'd be just 10 feet high, and 100 miles, and calculate on that. It's over a mile. So in 100 miles, and 100 miles is what? San Francisco to Monterey, San Francisco to Santa Cruz. In that amount of beach, you're not going to measure a drop in a mile. I mean, it's not there. And, I understand that he measures drop, but these guys all assume it's the compartmentalization, the same thing they do at NASA, where if you have everybody's hand in the bowl, then they all feel a part of it, and they feel very proud of what they've done. But they don't realize that it's compartmentalized like that, so that you think everybody else is doing and everybody thinks everybody else is doing it, but they come back with these numbers, and they are not measuring the curvature of the Earth. If that makes any sense, probably not. But how did I get stuck on that? Yeah, so telescopes. So do that test if you want. Take a roll of paper towels and then a telescope, and you'll see that there is a collimation mistake. And this is something. Maybe let me check the chat one more time, and then I'll close out with something that I think is interesting, or maybe I'll do that tomorrow. I don't know. It's something important, and I think it's also, I don't want to say it's counterintuitive, but it is kind of iffy. Okay, now I've lost the chat box. Is this one? Nope. That's Eric DeBay's. Okay, I lost my chat box. 1 second. Richie did get his original channel back. Thank you, Artem. I was thinking that he did. Let's see here. Nope, this one. And this one. Please tell me I have the right one this time. And okay, good. My video. Let me see here the chat. And I'll scroll back up just in case I missed anybody. I don't want to miss anybody. But what I have to talk about is basically it's the reason that the Bedford level experiment didn't go as planned. You can search any page on a PC with Control F. Yeah, what did I need to do? Did I mess that up? Oh, you mean for my name? No, I didn't do Raw last night. We were supposed to, but then weirdest thing happened. I was getting ready to say, good evening, everyone. And as I started to say it, I heard myself say it. And I was like, what? Me and Miss were looking at each other like, what's going on? Well, for some reason, the thing started playing an old show. But we were sitting there ready to do the show, and I couldn't get a hold of my boss. So I told him, hey, we're just going to take the night off. But next week, we're going to have Sophia Smallstorm on with us. So check that out on Jeranism Monday Night Raw, the #1 show on Truth Frequency Radio on Monday nights from 6 to 9 p.m. Pacific. Let's see. Wrestling. Wassling? Theodolite, not theodolite. It's theodolite? Is that what you want me to say? Theodolite? Does that make you feel better? Theodolite. That sounds so wrong. God, that sounds bad. I know. And the other one I use all the time is I say it's pay-per-view. I always get that one wrong. It's a pay-per-view. Like, no, it's pay-per-view. Well, what difference does it make? Same thing. Let's see here. What else? I love the work. It's crazy how easy it is to see and simple. So many. I know it's rough. And I had to bring up the experiment that I did that we've failed on twice. And really, it comes down to I should have listened to people telling me that the laser would not hold a beam despite getting the focuser and everything we tried. And I got quoted by one guy $13,000 for the laser that would do what we needed to do. And I also found out that through FE Core, the laser that we're going to be using for the Hungary experiment, they might let me borrow that after the experiment, so towards the end of July. And that laser will keep a beam diameter of 5 inches over 4 miles. And we'll be able to test that out in Hungary too. So find out if that's true. And if it is, then maybe I can do the test again and finally complete it. because that's all we need is just the laser. We had the idea, the premise is right, but it just didn't work out again. That we got there, and the beam, by the time it got to the end, was as big as the entire panel, and you can't judge anything by that. There was a guy there that was a glober, and he, I think he'd agree that there was no definitive answer based on the what we were doing. So it's going to take either a high-powered laser, not a high-powered, a highly collimated laser, or another spot, unfortunately. But yeah, it's not fun. I've had bad luck with experiments. That's definitely true. Another thing, I saw somebody say something about me being a scientist or something. I never said I'm a scientist. It doesn't say that anywhere on FE Core's information. I am merely a board member, and that's it. And it doesn't even require me to do anything but hear out what we're thinking of doing, what experiments we want to do, and what we think will be good to prove. So that's all that is. All the craziness that goes on, the nonsense, the videos being made about it is just, it's a joke to me. It really is, because all these videos, all they've done is hurt the flat earth. People want to say that Mark hurts flat earth or Patricia hurts flat earth. They don't hurt flat earth nearly as much as the videos about them. If you don't like Mark or Patricia, don't watch them. It's that simple. Just don't watch them. What do you care? Why are you... I feel like everybody who watches them is people who don't like them. So don't watch them. It's that simple. I mean, I don't understand why it's so difficult, why everyone's got to be... Think of the shill videos that have been made about both of them. There's hundreds. There's probably thousands on YouTube that you could find. What has that done? What has that proven? Where's the evidence that... that these two people are not who they say they are? Do I agree with everything that they say? No. Do I agree with half of what they say? Probably not. But it isn't worth my time and effort and energy to go out and do these witch hunts that amount to nothing. That they're poorly researched. They jump to conclusions. It's just nonsense. There's a researcher out there, maybe some people know who I'm talking about, that found a page that says that Michael Moriarty opened the site jerancampanella.com, which is true. The man that I was, trying to go after for stealing Bitcoin, he then opened a site because he was mad at me in my name, and then called me a scammer. So that's what people do. Eventually got taken off the internet. But he went on and found this page and says Jaron and Michael are working together because this guy bought a website named jerancampanella.com. End of story. That was this proof that we work together. He says, fact, it's fact. There's no arguing this. Then 2 or 3 weeks later, MGTV opens a website in Patricia's company's name, and he's like, "Oh, that's so funny. You got her good by doing that." It's like, dude, you're the most clueless person I've ever met in my life. The thing is, I'm held responsible if I make mistakes, or if not these people that just throw shit at the wall, like whatever sticks. 1 second. I had to get some to drink. And okay, so let me check my thing here. Yes, and that's good. So I'll save it tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody said Eric had 150,000 subs. They did him dirty. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Let's see here. I don't know. I didn't even know he had one strike. So I guess because he never does live, so I wouldn't know. I don't know if he'll come back. Let's see here. Anything else here? Oops. Sorry, I'm trying to see this. I don't think so. So I guess maybe I'll talk about it real quick and I'm done. Oh, Jaron, Eric made videos dressed in drag, making fun of Patricia and dressed up and mocked. Maybe that was the hate speech. Good point. He made fun of me, which was the worst impression I've ever seen in my life. I mean, as I said, I don't hold grudges against people. I look at them for their research, and Eric did shitty research on me. So that was enough for me to say I don't really need to ever trust his research, and that's basically where I leave it. When he comes out with a video, I might watch it because there might be something that resonates with me. Maybe not. But I think that's the best way to handle things. I don't need to hold grudges. I don't need to, make a shill list. These people are all shills, and it's just not me. That's just, if you want to think I'm a shill after everything I've done, go right ahead. Make sure you hit that unsub button and don't bother me because I got shit to do. And so I'll describe this real quick and see if this makes sense to you. So let's set up a scene here. Let me see if I can get a, which screen are you looking at? If I can get a little screen to draw this, I will. Let's see, do I still have, nope, don't have that anymore. 1 second, I'll open up this thing. Because I got to draw it and then maybe it'll make sense. And it actually doesn't make sense to me completely, sadly. But it needs to be talked about because it's interesting. And I think in it is the entire flat earth argument lies within this one question. So I'll give it to you. We'll leave it for tonight and then we'll talk about it next time. Let me see here. Okay. And we're going to go image, resize. So I got to draw it. So I guess the way to start out the question would be, we know that things get smaller in the distance, right? Not physically, but from our vantage point, our perception, call it what you will. And let me get this lined up so you can see what I'm seeing. I got to add a scene 2. Sure. And add this. 1 second. Window capture. Oops. And I didn't think I was drawing pictures today. And window capture. And paint. Okay, here we go. Okay. So yes, you should be able to see my paint here. Transition. Okay, so things get smaller in the distance. We know that. So what happened with the Bedford level experiment, if you haven't heard this before, that basically they had this bridge here. Let's just call this thing here a bridge. And you've got your water flowing this way. And then in the water, they put these, sticks, each about 10 feet high. So say you've got, a stick 10 feet high here. Whoops. Okay. And then you've got a stick 10 feet high here. And you've got a stick 10 feet high. Okay. So these sticks are going down. And then what they did is they leveled the telescope here. So now you got your telescope on the bridge. You level it. You need to go up a little higher. Okay, and then they shot this telescope here. They leveled this and they shot it, or they looked through it. Now what happened is in the distance, these sticks fell down versus the eyeline sight. So here's your sight line. And as you're looking through, in the distance, these white sticks became shorter and shorter and shorter, almost like this shows. I didn't even do it on purpose. So this is the whole argument about the Bedford level, because what it basically came down to is we've leveled the telescope, therefore the line should be straight. Now, it does make sense, right? That does make sense to us. We would think that if we leveled the telescope here at the observer's eye, that it would follow the tops of these posts all the way down to the horizon. But the weird thing is that's not the case. The reason why is because we have never told the telescope, which is going to sound crazy, we've never told the telescope that things get smaller in the distance. So people might, this is why I say it's a touchy situation, because people might scream and yell and say, no, you can't do that. Well, here's the problem, is that things really do get smaller in the distance. And we might think that this should keep the line, but it actually doesn't. And one way to prove that, or kind of get an idea, is imagine if we had a cloud. Okay, here's a cloud. All right, so we got this cloud, and we've got this guy down here. All right, and we're looking off in the distance here. And if we went up on this cloud somehow and put a telescope here, and we leveled it, if we went up and looked at it, would it be looking at the horizon line? No, it'd be looking off into the sky. And so the problem is, what Robotham said is, you have to aim your telescope at the top of the first two things. So in our same river experiment here that we just did, let's see, river here. So in the river experiment, when we set up those posts, thank you. So when we set up these posts at this height, well, here's the crazy thing, is that what Robotham is saying is you have to aim the telescope not level. Not level, because if you aim it level, then all the telescope knows exists in its reality is what's in this circle, meaning looking through the telescope, and I don't know how to describe it another way. So here's our telescope. We'll kind of give it like one of these looks. Okay, so and in telescopes, they have the, or especially the theodolites. They've got these crosshairs. Hello? It said red crosshairs. There we go. So they got these crosshairs, right? Well, if you're looking through this telescope, all that exists in this telescope is this circle, the tunnel vision straight through. So what you have to do is you have to aim this telescope down and line it up with the tops of the first two posts. Now what you do is the rest has been handled, because now you've told the telescope that things get smaller in the distance at this rate. So when this look through, you're going to see it go all the way to the horizon line. And if the posts fall away from that, so if this post was here and this post was here, but let's say that this post was here and then this post was here and this post was here, then the Earth is curved. Now you've got a curved Earth because your straight line, your level line, is now losing, this is curvature, right? But what Robotham said, and seems to be the truth, is that by pointing at the tops of these first two sticks, everything stayed in line. And in fact, that's what happened at the Bedford Level experiment. The reason John Hampton threw such a fit, ended up going to jail, ended up getting fined and sued, is because he was saying that exact point. Is no, the line stayed true to the top of every stick, therefore the Earth is a flat and level plane. And of course, George Alfred Wallace was the one saying, no, your sticks fell away from the level line. And the argument didn't really ever get solved, but the whole problem was, as Robotham stated, you can't put this telescope level. So I wonder if that's crazy. I mean, go ahead and put in the chat if you think what I'm saying is crazy or if I didn't explain it well. Another way to look at it would be just one other way that I can think of. But let's say that you have, because I would think anybody who would say if you level the telescope, then it should follow the line to the horizon. But think about it this way. If you had a 25,000 telescopes and we stack them, okay, so you just start stacking these telescopes and they're all level. So we stack telescopes. All right, well, if you went and looked behind each one of them, would you see the same thing at the end of each one? No, they'd be different. Well, that's the proof that if it was really level, like they're using a theodolite, they leveled the theodolite. Well, if you level the theodolite, then guess what? In the distance, the Earth is going to drop, because that's what happens. The Earth drops. But it's dropping. Well, number one, we don't know, the height of the telescope, but that's basically what's happening. Then that collimation error that I told you about, where I'm seeing the horizon below, is all has to do with the glass. So, I'm not sure if it's the telescope that's the problem or if it's the glass or what is exactly causing that. But I think that in that lies the whole answer for the flat Earth. That the reason they're measuring this curvature, the reason that they've been able to keep this going, is because they're using telescopes to look across distances, and they're not taking into account that things get smaller. Another thing you have to take into account is the fact that things get smaller. Like, we're talking about the curvature of the Earth, and we're saying, well, this much of the mountain needs to be hid. But really, if you think about it, think of how small that mountain has become in the distance. And there is an equation for that. I guess it's an equation for perspective, that things get smaller based on their size and distance. So I'm going to go back and check and see if anybody's got any questions on that, or maybe I explained it somewhat decent. But I think it's something to think about because, like I said, in it lies the answer one way or the other. Let's see here. Excuse me. My throat is killing me. The horizon is low because it is. Well, and I think you can't see the horizon anyway. And that's, again, I sent Taboo Conspiracy the article, sent it to a couple other people, the peer-reviewed paper that basically says that the horizon is an optical illusion, basically, not a matter of the ground. And I've talked about this in my last video with the train tracks. A lot of people still don't see this, that the train tracks meeting at the horizon is proof that either A, it just so happens that the curvature of the Earth is the exact same distance away that train tracks meet at an infinite distance, or it's a optical effect, meaning train tracks will always meet at the horizon because it's an optical effect. And if that's the case, well, then guess what? That's not the horizon has nothing to do with where we live. Has nothing to do with the ground. I wanted to show that one video, but maybe I don't have it ready. I might. Let me check to make sure I'm not missing anybody on the chat. So I think I'm going to end soon here. Zetetic conspiracy equals Powerland. Alrighty. Hey, you know what? Math Powerland said something last night. I was telling him that baby skin journals are on sale. Ever done an experiment to prove why the atmosphere does not leave the Earth? No. I don't even know how you would do that. Jesse Kozlowski, survey guy, would say you're wrong. Yeah, I've tried talking to him about it. And he won't listen to anything. I mean, he thinks that there's no way that it's God's gift to humankind, geodetic surveying. I lost where I was going. Math Powerland. So last night he did I guess you call that music. I'm not really sure what it is. A lot of noise and talking and weird dancing. And he did say something that I found incredibly just enlightening. Sometimes this is why I listen to certain people, because I may not agree with everything they say, but then they say something that makes me go, geez, you know? So he said, remember that when they found America, or stumbled across it, that the Europeans had no idea about corn or potatoes. And they just had no idea that it even existed. So he said, if there's more land, imagine the other fruits and vegetables that we've never heard of. And it just took me aback. Like, I never thought of that. I was just like, yeah, that we wouldn't even know that they existed if the seeds are gone. If there was, fruits before that if the seed went away, then we wouldn't know. Which must have been what happened somehow for them not to have potatoes or, excuse me, potatoes or, now I forgot the other thing. Oh, corn. So, interesting. He knows he read it before. Why can't I send this? What? I don't know. My sound is low? Has it been all day? Oh, sorry. I'm probably not close enough to the mic. I'm going to listen back and then I'll fix the sound for next time, just so you know. So anyway, thanks for listening in. I saw that, Dave. And I'm just going to say this, even though the guy has talked shit about me at every turn, I'm on his shill list. I stole $80,000. I stole $200 from him. You name it. I still suggest that you send a complaint or something. I don't know how Crow got his channel back, but I don't know. I thought that today was a good day for Eric Dubay, getting to talk to Neil deGrasse, which I would love the opportunity. I don't know if you guys know. Did you know that I talked to Eddie Bravo? Not sure if anybody knew that or not. If you don't listen to Raw, you wouldn't know. Thank you. Appreciate that. Somebody said my sound is fine. They eat a lot of different fruits and vegetables in other countries. Yeah, there may even be something we've never even seen, though, or heard of. How do you feel about Musk sending a Tesla to orbit Mars? Never happen. All just propaganda. It'll be one of those things that you keep moving on. 10 years from now, 5 years from now, but it'll never happen. So anyway, when are you going to be live again? Maybe tomorrow. I have so much stuff. I've got folders of stuff that I've just kept putting off, and it's always this stuff that it's just too much or too little for a video. So I kind of just push it into this category of I'll get to it. So I want to kind of squeeze some of that stuff out. Yes, I'm live now. Sound is fine on my end. Good. Speaking of Raw, no show last 2 Mondays. Yeah, I know. Well, the previous Monday we were doing packing and moving. If people don't know, we're getting ready to move. And then yesterday we were supposed to have a show. We had Sophia Smallstorm joining us, and everything was ready to go. And then the show started, and I heard my voice. So it played another show, and it was set to live show. So I couldn't do anything because I was talking to the people like, can you guys hear me behind myself? But so we just let it go, and we will be back next week with Sophia Smallstorm. Eric Dubay, Odd Reality, in my opinion, are the most informative channels on the subject. Nothing compares. I think that Eric Dubay and ODD are good. Where can I find that interview with Eddie Bravo? You know what? I'm going to have to load it up because it is on TFR and it's been past a week. So now you have to be a member. But he probably talked to us for about an hour and a half or so. So I'll load that on the Jeranism Raw channel. Maybe if I have time after this. What time is it? Almost 7. Yeah, that'll probably be good. Yeah, multiplexer, demultiplexer. I know, I wish I had... Oh, wait, do I have my sound effects? If I did, I would turn them on for you. But I don't think I had it on tonight. Too bad. That would have been fun. Yeah, I can't wait to do more spacewalk stuff. I got a whole bunch of that stuff to look at. And even if we just do some of this stuff live, if they've got any launches coming up, I don't know if you guys saw that launch in Russia that never made it into orbit recently, or the one that David Weiss did that took 13 seconds to go sideways, and then everybody wants to scream and yell about how real it is. Not me. So let's see if we go multiplexer, demultiplexer, and
Let's get scientific.
there we go. I know I'd eventually find it. A little late for my sound effects board, isn't it? Let's see here. Anything else? When did you speak with Eddie Bravo? Yeah, so it was on Raw. Maybe if anybody's got a TFR subscription. So just, and again, I'd like to bring this up because I don't think people know. I've had emails before saying, you said all your videos will be free, but your Raw show is not free. My Raw show is free. You can be there every Monday night live for 3 hours for free, and you'll never get charged a penny. What happens is after a week, then the show goes into the archives, and then you have to pay, I think it's $10 a month, and you don't just get my archives, you get Chris and Sri Gio, Rob Skiba, Zen Garcia, what's his name? Zachary Hubbard, who else? I mean, Chris Everard, you name it. There's a whole bunch of people. There's like 35 different shows, and you get the entire archives for that $10 a month. So, and if you sign up under my page, we get half of it, which I don't think we've ever broke $50 yet, but we take every bit and love every bit. So thank you so much. But anyway, yeah, so the show is free as long as you listen to it in the first week. After that, it goes to the archives. And then when Missa has time, she's been loading videos on the Jeranism Raw channel. We're only supposed to load like an hour because, it's how the business works. You got to kind of bait people to sign up for that. And I love True Frequency. Like I said, Chris has been awesome to us. When we first got offered the show, we both said, well, man, are they going to police what we can say? And we said, well, what are the restrictions? And he says, what do you mean? I said, well, what can't we talk about? He said, you can talk about whatever you want. I said, anything at all? He's like, yep. I said, we're in. That was huge to me. And then to find out that TFR is 100% listener supported, meaning that all of the money comes from listeners who buy at the various pages, and then the radio station gets half, and then the personality gets half. It's just a really nice run model. I've also had people call and say, why is it called Truth Frequency Radio? You believe in the flat earth. Zachary Hubbard doesn't. How can it be called Truth Frequency Radio if you guys have different opinions? And I thought that was ridiculous because I said, of course we have different opinions, but at least we're being honest. Both of us believe what we're saying, which is more than you can say for, mainstream news. When do the free users get to see this year's laser level near the river? Wait, when do the free what are you talking about? You're talking about the one in Hungary? I believe that we're going to be live. Are you going to try and talk to Joe Rogan? I did. I told Eddie Bravo to, I would go in there. I'd even go to the thing, but he just pissed me off. If you haven't watched today's, oh boy, those guys, I was listening to it and it was terrible. Hey, thanks, Cammy. Appreciate that. How did the conversation with Eddie go? It went good. I thought it was good. I feel like him and I would get along great. I mean, we both have the same kind of conspiracy mindset. We talked a lot about Korea, whether or not it's even real. North Korea, I mean. And we don't mean like it's a pretend place, but that it could be a kind of a psyop, like look into where Kim Jong-un went to school. Are you going to be doing more live shows? Yeah, I hope to do them as often as possible. I don't want to say any certain amount of days yet until we get more into it. If you want to catch raw, yes, thank you so much, Scuba Dracula. Appreciate that. Yeah, Joe Rogan. I think he's a gatekeeper too. But I don't know, because you have to look at it and then also wonder why he allows Eddie on his show. Then maybe it is that he's doing both gatekeeping and what is that noise? Don't know what that's happening. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. Telescope bad view. Can you get Robert Pisano, Planet Veritas back? Yeah, I'll try and get in contact. I really miss his stuff too, and I do have his email, so I'll try it. Rob Skiba uploads entire shows. The 2 hours? The full 2 hours? Ooh, I think I've done that once when we had Jordan Maxwell. I don't think we're supposed to. But I know Brian, he's awesome. Jaron, do you have any flat earth cards that you can put out everywhere? Yes, we do. And also, did the experiment with the arrows and circular square glass? Square glass does not make the arrow face opposite direction. Really? Just the circular does? Interesting. Interesting. I'll have to check that out. I also know it drops the line or it raises it up. I'm not really sure which one. I forgot. Korea's flat. I'm pretty sure that's true. I always get asked about lunar eclipses. Well, there's a lot going on there, but we have to rethink the way shadows work, even because I've seen shadows that seem to they're reflecting off the sky, and we always see the orange moon or the red moon when it's low on the horizon. At least a lot of footage I've been watching has shown that. Oh, another thing I wanted to have somebody look at. Oh, let me see if I can bring this up. One more thing. That noise was from Discord after getting a new reply, but I don't see any messages. I don't know how to use Discord yet. I'll figure it out one day. But I wanted to show you this one video if I can find it. So here's the thing. So I'm sure you've heard Event Skeptic and these other jokers talking about the fact that the sun sets south of west if you're in Australia. This is a fact. This is people know that. So at first it looked like a problem for the AE map, but the more we kept looking at it, the more we saw that would be the case if there was some sort of an atmospheric dome, not a glass dome. We don't know what it is, but this idea of atmosphere that is the thinnest straight above your head, and then the most concentrated as you look out. So here's the thing, though: if we live on a ball, then when the sun sets to the south, southwest of Australia or somewhere down south, it could be Ushuaia, the sun should set and continue to go left. Right, it's setting. We know that in the north, our sun sets left to right. In the south, their sun sets right to left. But it should go right to left and continue going left. But I found some videos that seem to show that is not what's happening. That it seems to set down and then starts taking off to the right again. So if anybody lives in Australia or know anybody that does, ask them to take a time lapse of the sunset. And then here's the problem: they need to leave the camera on well after sunset. The problem is you have a hard time finding anybody who does that, because who wants to just look at the night? So usually the sun will set and that's the end of the time lapse. But what we need to find is people who will keep that camera on and find out if the sun goes back to the right, good night, Irene, that it can't be a globe. Let me see here. Where do I have this? I hope I did save it. I think I did. It would be down here somewhere. Animated bomb. No, Joe, no. Hopefully I did have it here. If not, I'll find it for tomorrow. Wait, relaxing scenery of sunset, and this might be it. Oh, wait, here it is. GoPro Lime time lapse. It says Lime lapse. Let me see if this is the one. Perth time lapse. Okay, so it's one of these three. Let me bring these up. Okay. I'll just show you what I'm talking about, and again, just finding it in one video is not conclusive evidence, but it is something that makes me question it and then say, let's get everybody out there looking at this. Where are we at here? I need to get you to look at this page. Oops. Nope. This one. All right. So you should be looking now at this guy again. And let me see which one of these it is. Australian beaches. Okay. Oh, we don't need sound. So on this one here, trying to see if this is the one here. See, a lot of these turn off right after Let's see this one here. Wait, does this one go? Oops. Let me see. Yeah, that one kind of goes out fast. But this one here, so we can see the sun here. So it's setting right to left, right? So in the globe model, the sun should continue to go down underneath the earth and around this way. In the flat earth model, what you're actually seeing is the high part of the arc that goes around the earth this way. So yes, to this person's perspective, they're going to still see this set this way. But the question is, does it continue this way or does it come back to the right? And if you look, so we're going to say, let's get to where it sets. So to me, it's set right about here, right? So now we should see the light move this way. But if we kind of watch, the light seems to be moving which way? I think it's moving more to the right than it is to the left. Let's go to this next one. So again, we want to have somebody do it till nightfall. Okay, so let's see here. This is a questionable one too, but here it is setting right to left. So so it looked like it's set right about here or so at the tree. And so it should be going this way, but if you look at it, I don't know. That looks like it's going back out to me. We'll see. Is this one a good one? So I just wanted to ask people, if you live in somewhere in Australia and you can film the sunset, see if it's this one. Where are we at here? This one? No. Oh, is that a rise? That's sunrise. Maybe this one? No, that's rise also, isn't it? Or set, I don't know. Anyway, when this sets, and I did have one, I don't know why I didn't find it now, but just have somebody who films this, and then we need to watch it well past this set. Oh, this might have been the one actually right here. So I mean, where does this sun set? It looks like it sets here. Where would you say? Here? So I mean, I'm going to keep my mouse there, and now so that should be, all the light should go to the left of this arrow. But it kind of looks like it's going to the right. I don't know. That's a questionable one. It looks like it's more light over here than it is over here. Again, it's hard to tell. Those ones are kind of fading out. So that's why I said it's not definitive at all. But I just want people to check that. I think that we could find something there that would be important. Because at least in my opinion, I think that the sun is circling. Everything I see shows me a circling sun. Oops, I didn't mean to close that. Now you're looking at blackness. All right, well, I think that that's everything I have for you. And I will be back probably tomorrow. That's my guess. But, and I wanted to do, that I'm going to do. Yeah, so we'll have some ISS Live and some other stuff going on. If you guys have any suggestions for something you want to see, I want to take phone calls. If you've got other ideas, I don't know if people want to see debates, if they want, me to find some globe believers. I'm sure I could get Soundly or Wolfie 6020 in here or somebody like that. I don't know if that's something people want to hear. I don't think it's beneficial to, you're never going to change somebody's mind in a debate, but I think sometimes it's good for people to listen for the ideas of both sides. I think that that might be helpful, but maybe it won't be. I mean, that's why, if you have any ideas, reach out on SpeakPipe or ask.fm/jeranism. And this way I can get an idea of what you guys want to see. For me, it's just about pointing out my research. It kind of reminds me of some things. I've got a lot going on with the history stuff that I've found and uncovered that pretty much proves that the timeline of our past is completely wrong, and like a conclusive proof too, with as far as the dates that they supposedly changed to the Gregorian calendar. If that date was chosen in 1562 or whatever they said, there would be cases where before that they were off on the solstices. But going back in history, in the 1300s, 1400s, 1500s, they were going by the correct date. They were going by December 21st. So if that's true, then there was no skipping of 10 days that whole thing didn't happen. What it means otherwise is that people were celebrating the equinox on the wrong day and the solstices. These guys were astronomers. They would have known that they weren't at the right time. But this just goes into that deception that they tell us. And really, it comes down to a lot of that stuff that's written in the 1700s. I would not put much faith into. I wouldn't be surprised if flat Earth was being taught up till, 100 years ago. And then came this whole wave. And it's easy to tell a story when you've got people that listen to everything you say, and anything you put in a textbook becomes believed. It's easy to fool them. And I think we owe it to ourselves to at least look into these things, at the very least, and then make our decisions based on that. So anyway, guys, it's been fun. I do not have my outro prepared. If I did, I would play it for you, but I don't have it. So till next time, be good to each other. Don't lie, and open your mind and find your own truth. That's what I tell you. Till next time, guys, this has been Jeranism. Peace! And a shout out to all the patrons. You guys really rock, so I appreciate that a ton. And also the patron Discord server is up, and that's the chat that I'll be watching. So if you're a patron, you can head over to the Discord server. And if you want to use the link, it'll be on the screen here momentarily. So first, let me say that because YouTube gave me a... Let me get this over here. Not that one. We'll go with that one. So because YouTube gave me that strike for basically bullying, and the whole time I thought that was my handling of NASA, but a subscriber actually wrote me and said that people were using fake sock accounts, I guess, and basically creating fake names that were derogatory or racist, and then it was showing up on my screen there. On the right, now I fixed it so that there is no chance of that happening since I'm the one who punches in the names. But, so yeah, just wanted to point out that I might have been wrong when I said that I was picked on for bullying, even though I didn't bully. Well, if there was somebody writing racist things on my feed, then I guess I understand that would definitely be a reason to say it's bullying or say it's hate speech. So thank you to those who are so pathetic that that's how they... I mean, I would never create one sock puppet account, let alone somebody making like 50 or 300 and then going to somebody's channel to write some racist nonsense as if, I don't know. It just makes no sense to me. So let me start by saying that, no matter what people are saying on their channels, you'll never see me over there giving them a hard time, because if I don't like a channel, I don't watch it. It's really simple. And think of the simplicity of that. Watch videos you like, don't watch the ones you don't like. I don't know. To me, it just seems too easy. So let's jump in. First, I want to know if you guys heard. I did bring up the wrong one. 1 second. Don't know if you heard this. It is going to be played at a little faster than normal speed, but I'll go ahead and play it just so you can hear what happened earlier today.
But it really does put you in a very unusual state. And when you get out of it, you can go through a lot of stuff that you have, like maybe cluttering around inside your mind, and reorganize after a hypnotic session. It's pretty interesting. There's a reason why people use it for, like, quitting smoking and things along those lines.
Yeah, well, it just shows how malleable the human brain is.
Yeah.
And, it goes back to that whole thing with being brainwashed by YouTube. People make documentaries in a way to hypnotize people. Yeah. They structure it in a way that you get these images coming at you and these ideas and this reinforcement of things in a way that will actually just kind of embed this idea in your brain without you even really realizing it.
Yeah, and they'll say things like, you are being lied to.
1 second. See if that screwed up your document a little bit. Let me try and move this over. Oop. Not what I wanted to do. All right, and we're going to grab this one and move it over. All right, now you can kind of see what I'm seeing. All right. So it says to discuss the publicity problem with liaisons and friendly elite contacts. So number one, that's just an interesting, opening statement there, to discuss the publicity problem with liaisons and friendly elite contacts especially politicians and editors. Okay, so what that means is that there is certain liaisons or connections, contacts that are editors to newspapers, magazines, news media. Okay, that's a problem. Pointing out that the Warren Commission did as thorough an investigation as humanly possible to the charges, and the critics are without serious foundation, and that further speculative discussion only plays into the hands of the opposition. And then it says here, underline, point out that the points of the conspiracy talk appear to be deliberately generated by communist propaganda. Now, they're not saying that that's what the case is. They're saying to just point out that that's a great way to look at it, because the American, public is scared of communism. So they went that way. So basically, then they tell you in section B here to employ propaganda assets we've got propaganda assets. Now, who might they be? Might they be the editors to the newspapers and TV programs? And, so employ these propaganda assets to answer and refute the attacks of the, God, I cannot read that. Enemies. I don't know what that one is, says there. Book reviews and future articles are particularly appropriate for this purpose. So now they're telling you to make book reviews and feature articles that are going to talk about this big problem that conspiracy theorists are coming up with. The conspiracy talk is deliberately generated by communist propaganda. So just interesting that this document goes through and talks about all the reasons or all the ways that they can basically demonize conspiracy theorists. So you'll see here, says, our play should point out, as applicable, that the critics are wedded to theories adopted before evidence was in. They are politically interested, they are financially interested, hasty and inaccurate in their research, or infatuated with their own theories. So they're giving these guys, this is what you say, and if you look around, what do you hear from everybody? That they have a problem with the flat earth. They say the exact same thing. They've been trained to repeat from this document because they'll just tell you, oh, he doesn't have all the facts. Nope, this is, it must be politically in charge. You must be working for the CIA. You're doing this to make money. You're hasty and inaccurate in your research. You're infatuated with your own theory. You want the earth to be flat. Like that's the dumbest thing in the world. Why would I want to have been lied to my entire life? In my belief, it's a fact, but that's not something I want. So, I don't understand that whole idea. And these guys are just saying the same thing. And I don't want to play too much of their show, but I might play another second just to hear them talk about when they go through and say all the things that are wrong with conspiracy theorists after they bring up this document and say this document didn't really say anything and it didn't really invent the word. Nobody said it did. It just is a document saying to call these people conspiracy theorists, to demonize them as such. And we'll read a little bit further here. Talks about the Fletcher thing. Let's see here. In private or media discussion not directed to any particular writer or attacking publications which may yet be forthcoming, the following arguments are useful. Basically saying there's no significant no significant evidence has emerged that makes them change the ideas of the Warren Commission. Let me go to page 2 here. Hopefully it's easier to read. Let's see what this one is here. Oh, pleasant. Nope, that's not any easier. How about this one? Okay. Should have looked at these before I got them. Yeah, that's not any easier for me either. So, basically nope, I'm not going to be able to read that. Let's see if we can find those documents, I guess. They are important because basically what it does tell you is that the plan is, and I actually know of a website where it is, so we'll go there real quick. Let me get you over here with this. And let's go. Okay, so we'll find this document 1 second. And so we are looking for, I forgot the number, conspiracy document. Okay. So, let's see here. What's this one? Let me see what that one was here again. Sorry. I did have this ready. 1035-960. Thank you. That's what I wanted. All right. Conspiracy 1035 960. There's a couple sites that have the text of it, but not many have the actual picture or the image. This one here, I think, has the text. I just want to read the main paragraph that basically... so we'll just read from here. This is...
Well, the thing that kills me, too, is that they use oftentimes a hypnotic voice. Like that Eric Dubé guy who does those Flat Earth videos, he talks in a very hypnotic manner. It's like very calm and...
Yes. Yeah, I think some of the 9/11 videos do as well. They've got this nice woman dictating it. And it's like,
yeah, they get you.
The buildings could not possibly have fallen the way they did. Physics proves it.
It looks like we're going to have Eric Dubé, he said he's agreed to do it, talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
What?
Yes. He's going to Skype in from Thailand, or wherever the fuck he is.
Yeah, I think it's in Thailand.
So that is interesting, huh? I don't know about you. I found it extremely interesting. So Eric Dubé is going to talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson on Joe Rogan's show. Interesting. And despite Eric's constant incorrect assumptions about me and his often and his bodyguards or whatever you want to call those two people at the forum with him, the shitty research that they do and all the elements of Flat Earth, I wish him the best. It'll be interesting to hear that conversation. Hopefully it happens, and hopefully it's soon. That would be cool. So that came out today. What Joe Rogan was talking with Mick West. They were basically making fools of themselves. They just, these guys don't get it. It's so funny when you hear people describe what they call conspiracy theorists, and they get this idea where they say, well, you're so infatuated with the idea, and it's so much a part of you, and you can't shake it. When that is the exact thing that is causing people to hold on to the globe. And it's just funny. They're just saying it, and they can't even see it. They also talked about Kennedy. And I wanted to show something here because, excuse me, I have a sore throat, so if I'm coughing a little bit. Mick West says, oh no, they tried to say that the word conspiracy theorist was invented by the CIA. Nobody ever said that the word conspiracy theorist was invented by the CIA, okay? When I say nobody said, maybe somebody somewhere did, but not me, and not from what I've heard, anybody who's been doing any research into that. What is being said is that, and I'm going to bring up these documents so you can see. And I don't know if you've ever seen these documents, and I do have, I think, too many pages here. Let me see if I can figure out which one this is. Okay, I can't read that. Let's see this one. Okay, so this is the dispatch number 1035-960. It's a CIA document. Came out as a FOIA request in the mid-70s, I think. And basically this, I'm going to start reading it. And, you don't see what I'm seeing? Alrighty, let's see what's going on with this. Hold on. This one. All right. There you go. Now we'll see you. All right, so I'm reading this document page here. It says, to discuss the publicity problem. Sorry, it's hard for me to read. It's really small. Let me see if I can make this bigger for me. Nope. All right, 1 second. Oh, maybe that did it.
Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1.
Houston, we have a problem.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue.
What you're seeing here is a mirage. Mirage. Mirage.
What's going on, everyone? It's Jeranism back with a live video for you. Yes, I'm back. I busted out of the handcuffs and pushed my way through security. Actually, no, I didn't. I just got an email that said my 3 months was over. And so here I am. I'm back at the helm. So thank you to those who are watching. I wanted to do a few quick plugs. First of all, if you're one of the people who uses our link to shop at Amazon, we appreciate that a lot. So thank you so much. We make like 2 or 3% on most items, so we really do appreciate that. And if you'd like to help, you can go to bit.ly/JeranAMZ, JeranAMZ. And we also have a store there of items that are $5 and less. So you can check that out. That's amazon.com/shop/Jeranism. So thank you guys for the support. We appreciate it. I wanted to give a big thank you to those